is. Guys, we got him. We wrangled him in studio. Episode 250.
250?
Yeah, it's a milestone.
Us
together.
and America are 250 years old. That's a big deal.
I thought you were going to say Andrew Biondi. Yeah. Hello and welcome back to the Shea Station podcast. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, the 250th episode of Shea Station, a milestone. A lot of things have changed, but one thing has remained constant, and that is Jerry Blevins. Jerry?
There's a fact here, you know, because America, this is 250 years.
Right.
I just pulled it up. There's a name for that, and I'll never remember it. I looked it up. It's semi-quincentennial.
I knew that.
Rolls off the tongue.
I really,
yes.
I think we should get that in the title somehow.
Yep. If we only did one episode a year, this would be our...
Jerry's Word Facts and this entire show was brought to you by Coors Banquet, also as old as America. How about that? And Jerry, I wish we could meet under better circumstances for number 250, but we can't.
I'll be honest, though. Just meeting in general is a good circumstance for us. It's nice to be in Manhattan. Right. Good to see your face in the flesh.
Good to see your face, too. You went on a little elevator ride this morning?
I did. I forgot. You guys are corporate now here.
Yeah. We need a card to swipe in to get to our floor.
You have to swipe in because of all the rabid fans that come up and want to see Jolly.
We had a family come in and ask for a tour, and we were like, "How'd you get here? How'd you know
midday?
Where we are?"
Just like
midday, just showed up. We've had other experiences like that. So yeah, Jerry took a little elevator ride. Then he came up to the office and met all the new people that work here, and they were all like, "Wow, he's tall."
There is a lot of new faces here in John Boy Media,
and all the while that was happening, we knew in the back of our minds that we need to talk about the 2026 New York Mets, which they're on a crash course towards becoming one of those teams that might earn the moniker one of the worst teams money can buy, which is a previous Mets team in history back in 1993. Although this version somehow feels worse. They are 9-19, somehow only tied for last place in the National League East because the Phillies are going through the same season as us, apparently. They just got swept at home by the Colorado Rockies after we thought they might have been turning a corner against the Minnesota Twins. Instead, 3 straight L's, including a doubleheader sweep where they scored 1 run in 18 innings against Jose Quintana, old friend, and Chase Dollander. So things are, I'm hoping, at rock bottom, although you can never tell for sure because there's still a lot of season left. And we're here to cipher through it all and talk it out. And this is going to be a little bit of a therapy session. I think it's going to be a little bit of a, how can we rationalize what the hell is happening before our eyes right now? But Jerry, I guess we did this last week in a voicemail, and I think it might be a thing we return to every week. Your panic meter. It was pretty low last week. After a sweep at home against what was the worst team in baseball last year, has it risen at all?
This is a weird one for me because, panic meter, concern meter is at a 10.
More delicate term.
Yeah, well, not just that. I'm not panicking that this team isn't going. What are you panicking about?
My panic thoughts are like, all right, we're going to be selling at the deadline. The manager's going to get fired. David Stearns' vision might not be what we thought it was. What's going to happen to this team next year? Like, those are kind of the panicky thoughts. But if they win 3 games in a row, I'm like, oh, never mind. We're back. So I just need that. I need that to quell my panics.
I am not in panic mode. Okay. This team, my concern level is a 10 for this team. This just might not have it. It was a roller coaster of emotion to start this season. So right when the 2025 season ended, this starts the new one.
Yeah.
It was a roller coaster. The fire sale, getting rid of a lot of familiar faces, trying to reset it. And then the names that they brought in, I bought in that this was going to be like a fun, different style team that can compete. I thought it was a real contender. I'm at a 10 on if this team can actually contend, let alone, there's still plenty of room for them to come back, make the playoffs, figure out who they are. But my concern is at a 10 that this team just might not have it. They, the lineup isn't what it looked like it could be. The way that they go about it, their approach, it just isn't working out. Defensively, they're not as good as I thought they were going to be either. And I don't see replacements coming in to fill in the gaps needed. There's just too many spots that aren't working out.
Right.
They can still be good. They can still make the playoffs. They can still make a run. I just don't think they are as good as I thought they were. Like it's that simple. And I don't think their ceiling is as good as I thought it was.
I think that's the best way to spin it, of like, you can hone in on individual performances, which we will in this show, but overall there's just been no one that has really picked up the slack. I think that the frustrating thing is that, like, pitching wise, they're off to a good start. They're top 10 in ERA. I know you mentioned the defense. It hasn't been the prettiest, but they're 15th overall, outs above average. So those two things are working out kind of. It's just the thing that I felt personally the most confident in was the lineup. And that has been the reason why we're in this mess. They've scored 2 runs or less in 14 of their 28 games, which feels impossible. And I'm sure I'll do this at the end of the season. I'm not really doing it right now, but so many of these losses, like 2-1 against LA, 4-2 against the Cubs, 2-1 against the Cubs, 3-4 against the Rockies, 3-1, 3-0. So many of these could just turn into wins if you got that one big hit in the first inning or the last inning. Like, the Mets seem to set themselves up for it night in and night out. And that's supposed to be, I think, the philosophy of this team. Was, we said it a little bit in the preseason, of they feel like they're kind of built like the 2022 team, where it's death by 1,000 cuts. Everyone's working a great at bat. Everyone's playing for each other in that lineup. And we saw a little bit of it at the beginning of the season, but that philosophy feels like it's gone fully away, because it feels like everyone's trying to get that big hit to bring this team out of the rut. And it doesn't look like anyone's capable. So offense, I think, has been the most shocking and disappointing thing. And that's not exactly a bold statement, but even Juan Soto coming back hasn't really resurrected this team the way we thought it might. It's just frustrating because there is no easy answer. Like you said, there's too many spots of underperformance for this team right now for something to be brought up internally to fix. And it's just, they have to literally ride this out through the end of the homestand and hope they can squeak out a series win against the team they probably know they're better than. It doesn't feel like this team can beat anybody right now.
It's the offense. It's 100% the offense. It's and I'll tell you why Juan Soto is not the savior. It's because I would not throw him a strike ever.
Yeah.
Why would
Especially
you?
With this lineup.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Why would you ever do you remember his first year, the second half? Was it his first year? Is it
2019?
2019, when Soto had like a 500 on base percentage.
Yeah.
This is what that lineup feels like. And it's wild because he was surrounded by a bunch of, like, it was the end of was it end of 2018? I can't remember. Whatever.
I mean, if you're talking about the lineup,
I'm talking about Juan Soto when
like,
he had like the second half, almost won the MVP.
Right.
That
I think
year.
that's 19.
2019. They won the World Series in 2019, didn't they?
Or 2021. That's when he finished.
2021. That was it.
That team. Oh yeah, because that team was when they sold off.
They sold off
Scherzer
everyone. Trey Turner, Scherzer went to LA.
Yeah.
And then he never saw a strike.
Yeah.
And anytime he did see a strike, he hit a home run. That's how he's being pitched to. That's how I would pitch to him. The difference is the Mets lineup looks like a team that can compete.
Yeah.
But they're just not doing that now. And Juan Soto, I would never throw him a strike. That would be.
I mean, we kind of saw that in this Rockies series.
100%.
He got pitched around a ton.
Yeah.
And like that's why I didn't mind him first pitch swinging ever, because it might be the only strike he gets in the at-bat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And so he can't do it by himself because he's not going to be able to. It's the box and one type defense.
And I think this team is really going to start to feel the Francisco Lindor injury now more than I think when it first happened. Because when it first happened, they had ended the losing streak. You thought, okay, Bo gets a big hit in game 3. I mean, he can just move to shortstop and we can start to move forward from there. But I think this team is really going to feel the weight of that, because the fact that in the 2026 season with a competitive outlook, we might only get like 6 games of Lindor and Soto actually playing together really can be boiled down to what is going to kill this season, because the entire lineup is built around those two at the top, getting on base, twice a game and producing runs. And I just feel like you're losing the head of the snake without Lindor. I know he got off to another slow start offensively, but I think the smarter Mets fans know, and it kind of looked like it at the plate too, that he was coming out of it and he was going to come around. I think the team is really going to feel the weight of that. We've seen early defensive miscues from Mauricio, and we're going to place Bichette there for the doubleheader games, and who knows who's really going to step up and fill that void. But I think that's an understated storyline right now when you're considering this team's struggles overall. Before we continue with today's episode, I got to thank Coors Banquet for sponsoring this episode and every episode of Shea Station as the presenting sponsor. Baseball has always been about tradition, passed down from one generation to the next, and certain things just belong next to it. Coors Banquet has been brewed in Golden, Colorado since 1873. Same Rocky Mountain water, same carefully selected barley, same commitment to the craft for over 150 years. A well-balanced American lager originally named to honor the celebratory toasts of the miners that helped build this country. That's an actual legacy. Just like baseball, the Coors Banquet story is woven into the fabric of American history. Get Coors Banquet delivered straight to your door. Visit Coors.com/Shea, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. That's Coors.com/Shea, SHEA. Start your legacy. Coors Banquet, a proud partner of the New York Mets. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado beer. But as much as we want to talk about Lindor and Soto and the offense's unbelievable struggles, there is a hot topic, whether it should be or not. It's probably going to be the thumbnail of this episode. It's probably going to be one of the lead-in details on Twitter or something like that. The manager, Carlos Mendoza, who oversaw the collapse starting on June 13th last year, kept the job through this year. He is currently on the hot seat, whether he deserves to be or not. That is a very long, ongoing discussion that I definitely want to have with you as well, because I think we're kind of in the same purview of how much can he influence what's going on here. But it remains to be seen whether or not Carlos Mendoza will go on the road with this team towards the end of the homestand. It kind of feels like a culmination point of whether or not he's going to get let go by this team or not. So I guess I want to get your perspective a little bit, because things have changed so much since our last episode, where I think we could spin things a little bit more now that they've been swept at home by the Rockies. It's really hard to, rationalize not holding someone accountable, if that makes sense, whether he deserves it or not. So I just want to get your take. Where are you at with Carlos Mendoza? How are you feeling?
All right, I think you hit the nail on the head. It feels like somebody has to pay a price for what we're watching.
Yeah.
Is that Carlos Mendoza? I have no idea. I've had his back. I believe in what he does, how he goes about it. I understand that. Is it his fault? You can question some of the decisions. Ultimately, no. His players are underperforming.
Right.
But we have spoken about it before. How much does a manager have an influence? Most of what a manager does, we don't get to see it.
Yeah.
It is day-to-day management. And we'll use the example of Mark Vientos running through that stop sign.
It's a good example.
Third, and he was thrown out by 15 feet. And then in the post game, they asked him about it, and he's like, I'm just going with my instincts. Like, would you do it again? And he was like, doubled down, tripled down that, like, yeah, man, I'm a ball player. I got what I'm thinking. And I respect that thought process.
Sure, yeah.
I do. But you're out by 15 feet.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't look at that and say, yeah, that was a bad call, you have to, right?
Yeah.
Here's the problem. He says it, and then everybody's like, well, that can't keep going on. And then he's in the lineup the next day. They're like, is there any repercussions for what you do?
Right.
And here's what a good manager does. A good manager goes and talks to that player privately or in the clubhouse in front of the other guys too, but says, hey, man, I feel you. I like that you're being aggressive, but we have a third base coach for a reason. You're out by 15 feet. When he's got the stop sign, you put the brakes on.
Yeah.
I get it. If you're on the borderline of, causing an injury because you don't want to slow down, that's a different thing. But if this is, I have a better judgment than the third base coach, then you're wrong. And if that's how you feel, then we're going to have a problem. And they probably addressed it. Vientos is like, yeah, you're right. And then we don't see that, though. Us in the media,
right.
The fans, people watching, we don't get to see him do his job like that. But that's his main job. And I would have hated to see him do that on the field, sit him out so we can say, yeah, Vientos did wrong. He's out. But instead, he's like, hey, man, we need your bat. Do you understand this can't happen again? And Vientos is probably like, yeah. And then that's what we see on the field. But we don't see those things. So it's hard for us to say at least he's doing the little things wrong. And I appreciate so much the fact that he's not doing things so we see them.
Yeah.
That's even more respect for me. But this team is brutal. It's terrible. It feels like something has to change. What needs to be done? But you can't, again, here I am. As a player, you can't just not have a plan. You can't just fire the manager and then figure it out. What's the plan? Who comes in? What are you going to do? What's the outlook? Why is he being fired? Is it because the players aren't playing? That's not a good enough reason for me.
Yeah.
If there's a disconnect on what the philosophy is, then you can talk about that. But who could take over for this and try to salvage a season? There's 130 plus games left,
which is crazy.
There's
crazy
a lot
to
of
think
season
about.
left.
Yeah.
There's the crazy things have happened. It's never happened mathematically yet, but there's always a first for everything.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where I'm at with the whole manager situation of I'm in two boats. If they fire him, I understand it completely, and I maintain that I don't really think I haven't agreed with everything. I'm going to push back on
for it.
I think
It's
Vientos should have got benched the next day.
That's fair
They're
too.
facing a right-handed pitcher. His splits have been terrible, righty-lefty this year. Give MJ Melendez the start at first base. How much worse could the defense be? Because Vientos, I think, made an error in that same game, throwing the ball right at the runner.
Pegged him.
Square in the back. Wow, kind of precision throw. If that's
It felt like wiffle ball in the backyard, where
I was thinking wall ball.
Wall ball.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get him out in between, you hit him, he's out.
Yeah, and that led to all that stuff. So I was in the boat of I think there should be some sort of demonstration. But the clear thing is that he has not lost the locker room. Juan Soto came out and defended him vehemently and said it was on the players to perform, and they still believed in the vision and the talent of the roster. So no one's throwing him under the bus, and I don't take this kind of clubhouse to be that way. That's the other thing. It's this clubhouse still feels like it's full of likable, charismatic guys who seem to get along with each other, and something feels disconnected. And I do keep going back to the fact that Carlos Mendoza's coaching staff got purged, but he didn't. And I feel like that establishes just an inherent disconnect between Mendoza and these new coaches that are very clearly Stearns' guys that he wanted to go out and get, which is fine. But that makes me think as well, what is the plan if Mendoza gets, canned, whether he deserves it or not? Is it going to be Kai Correa, who spent 28 days as bench coach and is already going to be your interim manager? Is it someone externally? Because I don't really love that either. It's the same situation as Mendoza. It's not his staff. It's not his guys. It's hard to say, which is why I'm kind of in the boat of you might as well just keep him then. If you're going to be in this rut and you're not really assigning a ton of blame to him, could he manage the bullpen better? Sure, you could say that for any manager. Regardless, if you do fire him, don't go about it the way the Red Sox did, where no one's allowed to ask questions and no one's allowed to speak up, and there's Instagram stories and players are upset and it's all public. That situation only makes this horrible situation worse, and it's hard to imagine this getting worse. So I think we're in the same boat, and we might be a little bit of an echo chamber on Carlos Mendoza, but it's just it's hard to predict this happening.
I've said it, and I'm going to preface everything I say with, I would play for Carlos Mendoza. I would love to play for him. But I also understand, here's the truth about what a manager's job is in today's game.
Yeah.
So the president of baseball operations puts this team together, and it's analytically driven, right? You do simulations, 1,000 different versions of what this outcome could be.
Yeah.
And the manager's job is to make this team that he's put together be at least as good as what the average is of that,
right, or
better. And it just hasn't happened. And it's not his fault, but there could be some issues of, let's try something new.
Yeah.
Let's not just continue to do it. That stinks for me. That's not fair. There's flaws in this roster. We talked about run prevention, and your counterpoint to me saying this team isn't doing it is that they're 15th in the league.
Yeah.
Average?
It's
that's
not
literally right in the middle.
Yeah.
That's not run prevention. That's just being okay.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been defense that's been the problem. It's been the offense. And what looks like on paper should be a decent offense just has been one of the worst in all of baseball.
The least disciplined offense in baseball, 288 on base as a unit, which feels impossible to be below 300 as an entire squad. They're slugging 337. They have the worst OPS plus as a team of anyone in baseball at 79. And
79.
79.
They're 21% worse than league average hitters as a team. That's bananas.
And they're right down there with the Phillies at 83 and Boston at 85. And
I blame Eric Chavez.
It's got to be. I mean, that's one guy who
you know
must
what I
be
mean?
Loving this. He must be loving
Well,
this.
he's like, what do you want me to do?
Right.
I don't know. Is it a philosophy? Who knows what's going on?
Yeah.
But the manager's not swinging the bat. He's not telling them what to do. I don't know. He's been given a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but I understand that at some point something has to change.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is. If you feel like it's the manager, I understand. He understands it.
Yeah.
Is he worried about his job? No, he has to do everything else. He probably feels it, but he, again, respectfully, is not doing things in front of us just to save his job.
Yes.
The Boston Red Sox thing is a completely different scenario for me. This team had won a World Series under their manager. He is one of the most beloved characters and as respected around. I have different feelings about him. I don't know him personally. Mm-hmm. I know he was a big piece of what went on in Houston, and
also in Boston.
And
I think
yes,
the Apple Watches.
Exactly. He's a cheater to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And some guys are. Some people think that's okay.
Yeah.
Get whatever it takes, an edge. To me, that's complete and utter bullshit. That is egregious to me, that style of cheating. You're cheating, there's taking steroids, which is atrocious. Clearly, my body...
We can tell.
You can
by
tell
how healthy you are.
Correct.
You took steroids.
You can tell, and I competed against guys that were cheating. Bartolo Colon, beloved figure,
right,
got caught taking PEDs. I missed arbitration because a guy on my team, another lefty in the bullpen, they kept him up when it could have been me in Oakland.
Wait, I want to try and figure it out.
You can figure it out. I like him. He's a good guy, but you're cheaters. You're causing people. That's a different level, though. That's just trying to make yourself better. The style of cheating that Alex Cora brings is, dirty, gritty, sign stealing, that kind of banging trash cans. Those are the things that really bother me, and I don't want that guy. Yeah. That's me. I'll respect him. I know he knows more about baseball than I ever will, but the fact that he's gritty and dirty, and in Boston, it felt like a power struggle or it feels like it right now, between their front office and Craig Breslow, former teammate of mine for 2 years in Oakland. Yeah, and right, that core of I already won, it felt like you're choosing the manager and his guys versus the front office.
Yeah.
It felt like, looking back on it, that's what happened to Chaim Bloom and their front office. I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong. I'm on the outside. This is all speculation. I haven't asked, I'm not going to text a friend or a former teammate and be like, hey, what the hell's going on? Give me the inside so I can talk to my boy Jolly.
Please.
Not going to do that. Shit. But that's what it feels like. It feels like a mutiny from within. This guy doesn't know what he's doing, whatever the case may be. The New York Mets is completely different than that. You have an underperforming roster on a team that feels like it should have been competitive. We all bought in, and it's not that.
Yeah.
Is that the manager's fault that they're underperforming? I don't think so. Is the roster flawed? Clearly. Does somebody have to lose their job for that? And is it the manager? Is he the guy that just sorry, bud, you're expendable. Yeah. Somebody's got to pay. It's not me. It's going to be you. That's wild to me.
It's not going to be David Stearns. That's really the thing. Whether fans believe in it or not, we're tied into this vision, and there's been a lot of strides made with the farm system.
That's it. He's done an amazing job of coordinating a continuous builder of prospects that lead into the big leagues. I feel like he's done a great job there. There's just more to that, but this product on the field is not very good.
And I think it's all the extremes that I think Mets fans are really having trouble wrangling with. There's extremes with Carlos Mendoza. We were the worst team in baseball in 2024. Then we were the best team in baseball for the entire second half. And then we were the best team in baseball for the first half of 2025. And then we were the worst team in baseball for the second half of 2025. And right now we are once again the worst team in baseball. So you're either on a miracle run or dominating the league, or you are the worst team in the league. And I think that, as a fan, is extremely exhausting. I'm not saying that's because of Carlos Mendoza. That has just been his era
That's fair.
of managing. It's
That's
been
fair.
one or the other, which also in my delusional fan brain is like, well, last year we were 19-9 at this exact moment, and then we missed the playoffs. Right now we're 9-19. So who knows what the hell can happen? You could flip it the other way. You have no fucking clue.
It's true. That's it.
And I think there's just having no clue is driving me
nuts.
nuts.
It's just been a brutal time to be a fan because you got rid of a lot of faces. At least on that team, you can be like, I have guys that I know and I can cheer
that's
for.
Sleepwalk to 40 home runs. Although
that's
the
good
thing
personalities.
Too. The guys that are out besides Nimmo are either hurt or also underperforming. So
correct.
That wasn't the right answer either.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's like, was he clearly wrong in doing that? Because Luis Robert Jr. has been
bad.
He's been bad, but he's been what the worst case.
He's been playing to his career numbers.
That's it. And they expected that. He's been, and he hasn't played incredible defense, but he's been solid out there and he's in the lineup and he's producing. He can't be your cleanup hitter, though.
No, I remember what we talked about in the offensive preview. We were like, yeah, how much better will he do now that he's hitting 8th every day?
And they're not leaning on him.
Yeah.
It's the same scenario that he was in before. He was doing really good when he was batting lower.
God, what did he do in a past life,
Luis Robert, to cause
to get
this?
Stuck on all these teams, dude?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, yeah, okay. I mean, it's the lineup. I think Bichette will be fine. I think he's going to come around, but he's, Juan Soto, their numbers will be okay at the end, but the rest of the lineup, like, you don't know who you have.
Yeah.
They're missing Lindor big time, and there's no depth behind that. You've got underperformance from Beatty and Vientos. Simeon is the guy that they thought he's going to be anyway. He's played incredible defense at second base.
Yeah.
He's in that lineup all the time. He's hit some, but he's not a 40 home run guy anymore. But he's been fine. He's been who he is the last few years.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are playing to their recent baseball card, and I think some of the philosophy in building this roster was those guys exceeding their recent baseball card. And that just hasn't happened.
And the wild card of Luis Robert Jr. could be elite.
Yeah,
it hasn't been that, and it still could be. Have everybody else performing, so you don't have to force him into being the same run producer. Who knows? But the whole lineup has been underperforming to a level that they're the worst offense in baseball.
Yeah,
the pitching has been
full
great.
Team press, like everyone is pressing.
We haven't even talked rotation yet, but they've been fine.
Yeah.
There's been mix-ups. It's not pitching's fault. There have been games that they've blown, but it's if you're the worst scoring team in baseball,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Fully agree. And I mean, we'll talk in circles this entire show if we keep going with the offense, but it's kind of just it's a plague that's literally affecting everybody except Juan Soto and kind of Francisco Alvarez. And you just hope they can find their way out of it. But if they don't, it's just the season is going to slip away by the end of this month. And they got, a 3-game series here at home against the Nationals to hopefully make this homestand something. That remains to be seen. But we should talk about the pitching because while numerically it has been above league average and you've gotten basically a great start from Nolan McLean every time he's been out there, Clay Holmes is looking like he's in for a huge contract year. Freddie Peralta's been doing his thing. There's been the 6th inning trouble, but outside of that, he's been the guy who he's been in his career. There's 2 guys I want us to talk about because they pose pretty alarming problems for the immediate and not so immediate future of the New York Mets because they're both under contract for a couple more years after this year. Let's stay in the rotation. Kodai Senga, 9 ERA on the year, a whip of 2. After a couple nice starts at the beginning of the year, he has completely blown up in his last 3. He has not made it past the 4th inning, 8 1/3 innings, 16 earned runs in his last 3 outings. He said he would not welcome, but not be surprised if there was a demotion asked to AAA again, which is the exact spot we were in last year. How worried are you about Kodai Senga moving forward? Do you think it's like a complete lost cause? Because I'm starting to veer towards that reality.
Yeah, it feels like that. To me, it feels like that.
Yeah.
I'm very worried. Like, if we had a panic meter on if we were relying on Kodai Senga,
10 out of 10.
It'd be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do because we've seen completely different aspects of him. I don't know if he understands how to attack hitters. You know, I love the competitiveness, and he's kind of lost that competitive edge because he's afraid to come in the zone because they've been smashing the ball. But when you do that, you know, the guy, he's 30. How old is he? 33?
33.
He is set in his ways.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like he's not going to hear you and try to change his approach. And it might be time to move on. I don't think I could handle another start where it's the same old.
Yeah, I don't think the team can put out like they did the extra rest thing. He came out of the gate like throwing hard but missing the zone completely. Hit a batter to start the game. Had to dial back the velocity and then found the zone and got hit because he wasn't throwing as hard. So I mean that's a concrete wall that you've run into.
We were the style of pitching that he had in spring training was like, that's the Kodai Senga that we can handle and could be great at times, but at worst he's going to go 4 2/3 and they're going to have 2 runs. You know what I mean? But when you put runners on, I mean, a whip of almost 2. That's insane. That's not a big league starting pitcher.
Right. You cannot work with that. And I think the Mets found a nice lane with like a guy like David Peterson, who's now working in bulk. It looks like his confidence is back up a little bit. And I think pairing him with Tobias and Sean Manaea has been a good situation. It's just when Kodai Senga is on the mound, you feel like you have no chance to win because you're going to get yourself in an early hole. And honestly, it's been weird how some of the better Mets offensive performances have been in Kodai Senga starts where they're down 5-1, where they're down 7-0, and they almost feel like they stop pressing because they're like, well,
the only time they score runs is so they can lose 8-7
instead of
10-6.
It's very kind of them, very considerate. But we've seen Steve Cohen, DFA Robinson Cano and release him and eat all that money. Kodai Senga is owed $15 million next year, and then there's a team option beyond that, but I don't think that'll be activated. So we're in territory right now of a possible DFA candidate. I think he's tradable probably for a team.
I don't
know
for a team.
You'd have to eat all the money,
which
probably.
they're going to do anyway.
Sure.
Maybe you get like something in return. Who knows?
Jeff McNeil return? A 17-year-old at single A? Maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. He doesn't want to be in the bullpen because he can't do that physically because it's more demanding on your body every day. And we're talking about rest. He can't do what Sean Manaea has done very gracefully, which is move to the bullpen and be effective. Does he go down to AAA? Will he accept it?
I mean, I don't even think that'll help fix him,
Maybe, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. But you can't put that product on the field. He's allowing almost 12 hits a game.
Yeah. Like
that's... For a guy that misses barrels as has swing and miss stuff like he does, you can't. That's a tough combination.
And I'll tell you what, like I know he came out and had a pretty objectively terrible outing. I still have more confidence in Christian Scott. I just think he was amped up for his first outing in 2 years and was overthrowing. Like I'd like to give him another look rather than Kodai Senga.
100% could not agree more. Like if you have. He's going to get better from there. Like he can't get worse, but Christian Scott has upside.
And I think Kodai development. Could get worse. That's where I'm at with Kodai.
He has development that you could do, and then with the way the bullpen is constructed, you can make up for that with the guys that you have that can do multiple innings. And if this is a lost season, get Christian Scott in there. Get Jonah Tong. Yeah, for sure. If we're going to take lumps, let these guys learn what it takes to be in the big leagues.
Yeah. Before we continue with today's podcast, I want to thank the Fanatics Sportsbook for sponsoring today's video. When the batter steps up to the plate this baseball season, Fanatics Sportsbook is helping every pitch hit different. One of the best parts about Fanatics Sportsbook is FanCash, and every customer can get up to 10% back on their bets, win or lose. FanCash is the ultimate currency of the sport. You can use it to unlock profit boosts, place more bets, or cash it in for merch, collectibles, exclusive experiences, and more. More rewards, more reasons to stay in the game. And new this season, the long ball jackpot. Bet $5 on the game's longest home run, try track it live, and compete for a piece of a $50,000 FanCash jackpot. If that sounds good to you, you can make every bet count at Fanatics Sportsbook. From the first pitch to the final out, come see why winning hits different here. And also, you mentioned the bullpen. I do think we should have a Devin Williams conversation as well, because this is not something the Mets can release and DFA themselves out of, because Williams just signed his contract. He's got 2 more years at $13 million. He's supposed to be the closer of this team. It's unclear whether or not that's going to continue. He had a nice outing in the doubleheader, but it's pretty low stakes there. We've already seen a handful of very shaky outings from Devin Williams right now. I know I keep regurgitating the same question, but what's your panic level with Devin Williams? Because I'll say it, mine's pretty high right now.
I still think he's a really good pitcher. I just don't think he's a closer anymore. I don't especially on a contending team. And
you've shared a bullpen with a lot of guys that were established closers.
Yep.
Is there a common trait among those guys in terms of you have to be a little bit psycho, a little bit crazy, that you feel like he's missing? Or?
No, I don't think he's missing. I don't think he's missing the mentality of it. I just think that there's enough. You have to be able to challenge hitters in the zone with electric stuff and get lots of swings and misses. That's what it takes to be an elite closer. And I don't know if he's got that anymore. I'll be honest. I think all his stuff is the same. I think the teams have maybe, I don't know what it is, the trajectory or whatever it is. They figured out a way to attack him that makes him come into the zone, and he's much more hittable when you're not chasing the airbender out of the zone. Right. His fastball command, if he dials in that fastball command where he can come in the zone and know where it's going to avoid the long ball, I think he could be effective. I still think he's a very good pitcher.
Yeah,
it's not the lockdown ninth that we anticipated, and he's still could be worth that contract, being the 8th or 7th inning guy. But he's not the lockdown closer, at least from my modest point of view. He could have a great season, but it's going to be shaky at times because of how he attacks the end zone.
And the thing that's alarming me is 2024, he sat 95 on his fastball. 2025, he sat 94. Right now, he's sitting 93. So that's as clear of a steady decline as you can outline. And it's just that velocity in a safe situation is very uncompetitive. And it feels like you're dealing with not an overpowering weapon, but rather like a trick pitcher that's trying to fool hitters with the airbender that can't really fool guys if you can't establish your fastball.
And then the other pitches have disappeared. We haven't seen any bit of the cutter, the slider. We haven't seen it at all. So, I think he has to do that because his four-seamer still has great, really good movement.
Yeah.
If he can dial in the control, he could be elite.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it, and the velocity has continued to dip down. I mean, your closer can't throw 93.
Can't.
Not in
2026.
No. Yeah, and that's a fact. At 95, 96, and even 95 on a consistent basis, you can get swings and misses because they're sitting change up, whatever the case may be. He's still really, really good, and he could still be a really good closer. But in the 9th inning, I always think about seventh game of the World Series. The bottom of the 9th. Edwin Diaz, you come in, you get a couple walks, you still feel like he's going to strike out the side, right?
He literally, people forget, he did that in the final game of the DS against the Phillies.
Exactly.
I think he walked his first 2 guys on 8 pitches, and then he found his way out.
Yeah, because he has that stuff that can live in zone, that's swing and miss. We're looking at one of the most dominant pitchers of all time in Mason Miller.
Yep.
My favorite player in baseball to watch do their job.
It's a good pick.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah. Gave up some runs last night, though.
It happens. He's in the zone consistently.
Yeah.
With everything. You can't rely on chase out of the zone in today's style of baseball because they will make you come in the zone. There's just enough. And once your stuff is in the zone, if it's more hittable, again, Devin Williams is really a really, really good pitcher, has a chance to be elite, but the stuff that we're seeing right now is not on the same level as the best of the best as a closer.
So I wanted to round out with Devin because I think it leads naturally to David Stearns, who I think we should spend some time on. And there's been a lot of, I feel like experimental signings early in the David Stearns era. Some of them have been brilliant. Like I truly believe that Clay Holmes' 2-year deal is like one of the best contracts signed in the last 10 years. It's absolutely great to get him for that value. And there have been, like, I don't mind the Freddie Peralta trade. I don't mind cashing in some of the prospects to go get a high ceiling pitcher. I think in process, the Luis Robert trade is a good move because Luis Acuna is not doing much in Chicago, and you're getting a known commodity with potential upside there. There have been moves that David Stearns have made that have been savvy in his past 3 years of lead decision making. But I also feel like the number of, I don't want to call it failed because we're only 28 games in, but the number of very troubled experiments, the Frankie Montas deals, the Devin Williams early on, these kind of things where it feels like you're threading the needle and trying to be very creative with a very high payroll. I think that part is also exhausting fans right now. And I feel like the work that he's done for player development hasn't shown yet because none of those guys have reached the bigs, but they're making such great strides in the minor leagues that what's your patience level with David Stearns right now? Like, is part of me feels like if there was a way to have David Stearns run player development and have him, do the draft and have him curate all of that while having someone else act as GM, that'd almost feel better in my brain. But at the same time, that's just another source of dysfunction in a Mets front office.
That's an interesting take. I think if we this is you can't do this, but if you eliminated the product in the major leagues, like the product out of it, because of what he's done with the player development side, is you're going to reap the benefits of what he has done. And
that I think is important to remember too.
First of all,
this is like a bridge roster.
Correct.
Almost,
Steve and Alex Cohen have done an amazing job of finding a guy that they want to develop. They want to develop players. They want to have a sustainable farm system to feed into the big leagues.
Right.
They are building that, and it's beautiful what they've done. But on the other hand, there's two parts of that job. You're right, is the product on the field has not been good. This is his third year? Is that right?
I think so, third year. I think he came in at the end of 23.
Yeah, so hasn't been great. So the 24 team took a miracle for them to put on a magical run.
Yeah.
Then the team's epic collapse last year, and then the start to this year. Yeah, it's tough. I think he's doing a great job. That's an interesting thought. I don't know about the goings on, but he's the president of baseball operations.
Yeah, no, it's not
to have change. To have a GM run the big league roster. Maybe that's the route that you have to take. That would be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, it also goes. It's been a couple bad trade deadlines now. Last year.
Last year, I disagree. Yeah? I think he had a great trade deadline, but those guys played terrible.
Yeah, they played.
I think that's honestly 100. If you want to blame Carlos Mendoza for Ryan Helsley being the worst pitcher,
crazy.
He will never be that bad again for that long. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But I thought he made the right moves to give themselves a chance. If you want to blame Carlos Mendoza for that, again, it's somebody's fault.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think we did a trade deadline live stream, and any move the Mets made, I was pretty positive about.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was wrong about the roster this year.
Yeah.
I really, truly thought that they had a contender level. Just so much underperformance. So many question marks have came up on the wrong side of the coin. Mm-hmm. And if at this payroll, I understand the frustration of you can't have everything go wrong and it'd be okay. So
yeah, I think that's the summary of this entire episode is like, I wanted to hit on front office management and player personnel. But someone will be held accountable if the Mets don't come out and bare minimum win this series. And I'm having a tough time believing the Mets can beat any team right now. It doesn't feel like any team's a layup by any means, but I hate doing this shit because I keep doing it and I keep getting let down. Nationals, Angels, Rockies, your next 9. Like there's a world where you can spin that and come out of this looking much, much better. The thing is, the Mets haven't been hitting velocity at all. They're getting Zach Littell and Miles Michaelis in this series. That feels like a good matchup for not being able to hit 93. I don't know. We won't go into a full, series preview and outlook and stuff like that because I don't think people really want to hear about that. I think we're all going to watch the game at the end of the day, but we're not going to be happy doing it.
I feel like this is the true litmus test of Carlos Mendoza. Like, if the team doesn't know that he's on the chopping block, if for some reason they didn't know before, they know now. Yeah. And if they underperform, it's their fault if they're manager. If they truly want to play for him, it's on them. And I'll say it again for the millionth time. I would happily play for Carlos Mendoza because of the way he goes about it, the way he hasn't called anyone out in front of people. Maybe that's in New York. Maybe you need to do that, and that's my mistake. But I would love to play for him. But if his players don't perform at this level, something's got to give. You just can't do it without a plan. And I think this is not Carlos Mendoza's fault, but fans are foaming at the mouth for something to happen. If the players don't change, something like you can't watch this product all year without players getting traded, moving on. Like, I don't know how you trade some of the signings, like the Jorge Polanco.
A couple of these guys you're going to be saddled with.
Yeah. Sure. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it looks like, but you can't not have a plan, and you can't just fire a guy because the team you put together isn't working. Yeah. It's not his fault that the team isn't. It's someone's, though.
Yeah. And I think
many people.
I'm curious to see where Steve Cohen's at, because this is now fans aren't going to be showing up. That's one thing. That's going to be like the beginning of 2024 where that place was empty. They apparently didn't open ticket sales for games through like June and July.
No idea what that means.
Like
you can't buy those games.
I think they were, I don't want to say price gouging, but like waiting for to go up to charge more.
Interesting.
But those tickets I think are going to be on sale soon. And right now you can go to a Mets game for like $5. So I wonder, because we've seen Steve Cohen kind of take a step back of like really interacting with the day-to-day operations of the team, like he was when Epler was here and Buck was managing and stuff like that. I wonder if he reinserts himself out of just pure annoyance and, desperation. It remains.
It's interesting, because he'd take the John Henry approach and literally not talk to the media for a half of a decade.
Yeah,
he hasn't had any interaction with the media
or his players, apparently.
Or his players.
Wild.
Yeah, it's wild to me.
I think that's all we can really do. I think that's
Did we do anything?
Did we do anything? Let us know in the comments down below.
Thank you
for listening to our show today, guys. We did our best. There's not too much positivity.
There's human beings involved in this.
There's human beings involved.
That's tough.
That's all it is. And hopefully we can come back to you next Tuesday, talk about a couple series wins, and then really start to spin
watch
some
this
delusion.
Turn around. Backs against the wall, adrenaline rush. Caged,
what did we
cornered animal comes out swinging and makes it. So at some point in history, a team that starts 9-19 will make an epic run. Is it this team?
Someone's got to do it first.
Someone's got to do it first.
Jerry, what did we say in this very show 2 years ago when the Mets were 22-33? They were on their way to D.C. to play the Nationals, and we were doing our usual positivity spinning. We said, or you said, I should say, life is much better when you believe. It's so much more fun to believe that this team can turn it around. I don't see that yet. But there's weirder things that
anything is possible in sport. The world's greatest form of entertainment, in my belief. It can happen. It's going to happen. Again, it's going to happen at some point. These are talented ball players. Why can't they put it together? Why can't they do this? I always think about the Red Sox coming back from 3-0. Like, that was physically impossible. Nobody could ever do it. And then it happened. But you have 130-plus games to figure this out.
Many games.
But you have to start winning now.
So why not now? Last time with the series against the Nationals. Maybe history.
So what can we do?
Itself. I don't know.
Why not believe?
Thank you for listening to our episode. Leave a rating on the podcast app that you're listening to. It would go a long way for us. We really appreciate it. Leave a like on the video if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. And we'll be back next Monday.
Monday in person again.
With another in-person app. And maybe that'll turn. Maybe
we'll be on TV here
in-person
next
app
Monday.
We'll turn the
All
tide.
right, we're good. Yeah, we'll be talking back to our normal positive selves. Or it's worse.
Or it's way worse.
I'll tell you what, the Mets are never boring. I'll tell you that.
They're never boring. See you guys next time.
Let's go Mets.
Jerry can't hear the music at this point. Kind of blurry.
I'll pretend.
Okay. Yeah, bop along.
I just don't like the headphones.
I wore them the whole up. By accident.
Security blanket.
A little bit security blanket. Take us away. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.
Station.